Good evening and welcome back to Don't Lift Off. So today I'm going to be speaking to a young upcoming racing driver. Finally, a young driver on the podcast. Charles Rainford is a multiple race winner in the Porsche Carrera Cup Championship and narrowly missed out on the championship at Brands Hatch at the end of the year. He's just signed up for BMW for West Surrey Racing in the British Touring Car Championship, so it'll be alongside reigning champion Jake Hill for his rookie season. And I've worked with Charles on a couple of occasions. Absolutely lovely lad. I'm really looking forward to speaking to him today and finding out a little bit more about his background, what led him up to this place. Thank you very much for liking and subscribing to the channel. And we're nearly up to 500 subscribers now. And the target by the end of the year will be 1,000 subscribers, and we're well on the way to getting that. I'm saying we're, it's just currently me at the moment. But anyway, thank you very much for subscribing. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to share it with your friends, family, anyone you work with, anyone you know who likes racing cars and general random podcasts. Anyway, enough about plugging really badly. Enjoy the conversation with Charles.
Formula Vauxhall Junior, 1997.
Vauxhall Junior.
Vauxhall Junior.
Yeah. That was the second year of car racing, that was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I only had one good result. Well, what I would class as a good result. I got on the podium on that race. It was the only one. There's quite a good backstory to that, which I won't go into too much now. Well, it involves my ex-girlfriend shagging me on my back, but
Right.
but actually, it was quite good. Actually, it was literally like a country song. It was like, found out my girlfriend was shagging my mechanic. My
word!
We totally ran out of dough. So like, literally, I missed about 3 races. So literally, and then I'd literally gone to like the Jackie Stewart school of motor racing, so I wasn't drinking like a week before the race,
Totally.
I wasn't shagging like a week before the race, all the rest of these like be the perfect racing driver. So this all happened, we ran out of dough. I was like, oh fuck it. So I was just like, night before the race, I had like a couple of pints, like shagged my bird on the morning before qualifying, and then went out like the best qualifying session ever straight away. It was like
full
about,
James Hunt
I was
style.
like between 2 or 3 tenths away on pole. Had a great race, got fastest lap, and had a race against Pitsonia, who ended up in F1 with Jaguar.
Yeah.
And I should have won that race actually. It was the only good race that I had. It was just like, oh right, got motor racing sorted now, so just get a bit pissed.
Just get a bit pissed, have a shag, and go out on track. Maybe that's why James was so good at it.
Maybe, yeah. Talking of which, cheers mate, while we drink our water.
Yeah, while we drink our water. The professional racing drivers.
Yeah. Mate, thanks for coming down. That's
Anytime. Well, I was to say I was here anyway.
Yeah. So you're at
and
Croft
it's just
today.
tied in so nicely, hasn't it? Really. So,
Yeah.
At Croft yesterday and today.
Yeah.
2 solid days testing. That's just nice to be at Croft, isn't it? Really, especially when you get some time up there, because you've got to give the circuit a lot of respect.
Yeah. Especially
Bit of a
Clervaux.
Especially Clervaux, as I found out today. Yeah.
I think if you haven't gone off at Clervaux, you're not trying.
hard enough.
Croft, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. God, I think you go off at least like once a test session through Clervaux. I'm saying that as a professional instructor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not trying hard enough. But no, it's got some interesting corners, Croft, as well, actually. Fast. I've not really raced there that much, if I'm honest.
No.
Only did, 2 races in the Porsches, one in 21. Did one in the first race, crashed in the second one.
Right.
And then once last year, and that was all right. So, fairly inexperienced at Croft. But
Yeah.
I'm sure you have some stories at Croft being it's your local circuit now.
Well, yeah, although I haven't renewed my IARS license this year, which I keep saying on podcasts, so I'm sure Pat Blakely's going to love that.
He's going to love that, isn't he?
It's just because I haven't needed to so far. So it was one of those like kind of last minute renewals as and when I get some private coaching or something. But yeah, I suppose, I've lived in the North East since 2001.
Right, yeah.
And then now it's classed as the North.
Yeah,
apparently.
totally. That's it, apparently.
Yeah, it's just north of Watford Gap.
That's it, yeah.
So whereabouts
Yeah.
are you from then?
So I'm down in Horsham, right by Gatwick Airport, so quite the opposite,
Oh,
really.
okay, so right down like sort of southeast of the M25.
Totally, yeah. So to get to my house, you've even got to go down the M23.
Right, okay.
Which suddenly becomes very southern.
Yeah, so that's heading like towards Canterbury
Yeah.
direction then. So your local would have been Goodwood then, would it?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Goodwood's my
I suppose
local.
Brand's not too far.
Well, I tried to work this out the other day because I've been moving house over the weekend, just from one rental property to another, and I had to do it in a day and a half because life's a bit hectic at the moment.
Right.
So I was trying to work out the other night, and Brands Hatch is more miles, less time, and Goodwood's less miles, more time. So,
oh, really?
Whichever one you're classing as the
but it's
as
quite
the
a straight
factor.
run down. What's the route that you would take to get to Goodwood?
You go through kind of Storrington. It's all kind of back lanes.
Yeah,
really. It's all kind of down the back lanes, down the A23, and then peel off. Go through Storrington and Amberley, and then eventually arrive at Goodwood. It's quite a boring drive to Brands Hatch, really. It's just up the M23.
Yeah,
M25,
just cruising around there. It's just straight off, and you're there,
100%.
aren't you? Goodwood. I used to do a lot of days with Goodwood so back with Club Fiorano, which was the Ferrari UK thing,
100%.
and that was the initial days were all down at Goodwood.
Yeah.
So I used to go down there on my old sports bike. I used to have a Triumph sports bike. It was some nice
I
roads
didn't
down
know
there.
that.
Yeah,
So lovely.
Yeah.
There's some really nice roads for it down there, isn't there?
Yeah. So is that where you're registered as an instructor at Goodwood, or?
I'm actually at Brands Hatch as a registered instructor. I mean, I must say I do more work at Goodwood, but Pete Alexander got me into the instructing world.
Oh, Pete.
Yeah, he's such a lovely guy,
he's
isn't
mega,
he?
Yeah.
So
good prep man as well, really
very good prep man. Yeah. So my dad and him go back years. So when I kind of started to do okay in racing and that kind of thing, racing an old LMGT, which actually may be on your photos.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nice prompt. Nice
little prompt.
The Pro, yeah.
So, race an LMGT to start with.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, that's me dancing.
Oh, no, well, we'll talk about that. So let's go back to the MG first of all. Let me get this on the...
Should be a little bit further, I think. That's
right?
a bit later. That's still a LMGT.
Oh my God.
But that is a very famous car called SS 1800 from the number plate, and that is an exact recreation of John Britton's car. If you know John Britton,
was he the guy that used to own Brands and?
Totally. Basically, in short, he was kind of the money man behind it all, if you will.
Yeah.
But he was a very good racing driver in his own right, and he raced. Not that car exactly.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's exactly the same. He signed it off with his mechanic as well. They both had a good look round it. We recreated it with John and with help from his mechanic as well. Went through the whole thing, and it is a bar.
What, fabricated it from the ground up, was it?
Yeah. So we, as a family business, we build and restore classic racing cars.
Ah, right,
so
okay.
we also own all the rights to Lenham Motor Company Limited.
Okay.
And Lenham were initially based Lenham in Kent.
Okay.
Anyway, and they basically turned little MG midgets, Austin Healey sprites, into what you see there, which is a Lenham, and it basically is just a fiberglass. Full fiberglass slippery body over the top of an MG midget, which is what that one is. So that's a GT, but I first started off racing Lenham Le Mans, which is it's got a longer body, beautiful looking thing. Yeah, really, really cool.
So it was classics that you first started racing because the family were involved in it.
Yeah, 100%. So
right.
My dad started racing pretty much when I was born. I was born in '98. He was racing since '97, I believe, and that was in the Halfords MG Midget Challenge,
right?
Which you're racing a similar period you may know of,
right?
Basically, for our younger audience, is the MX5 Championship of then, basically,
right?
Today. So. All standard MG midgets with very few modifications, standard engines and massive grids, 32, 30, 35 car grids.
Right.
My dad was doing that, won the championship. Then we started running cars within that, and that's when really the race team started properly.
Right, okay.
And then...
So you used to build cars and they used to run a racing team to run the cars
So
as
we
well.
run the cars on a day-to-day basis, as well as do... preparation for road cars or servicing or even concours road car builds. We have a rolling road. So that's kind of our biggest income, really, is the rolling road.
Yeah.
We've got what's called a Maha. And the Maha machines are really good because they get calibrated every 6 months, I believe it is.
Okay.
But if you go from one Maha machine to another Maha machine, they all talk to each other. So you should get the exact same reading. So anywhere you are in Europe, you'll get the same reading on a rolling road.
Right.
So say, for instance, you come to us before you go and do Spa 6 Hour and you've got a problem in testing at Spa 6 Hour, you go to the nearest Maha and you get the same reading.
Right, okay.
Which is very, very good.
So the idea behind that is if you've got a certain power that you need to meet or you can't go beyond, then you can get an accurate reading so you know that if it goes tested at the racing circuit, then you know you're going to be 100%. Bang on the money.
And every rolling road is always slightly different depending on the brand.
Yeah.
And that can change your figure. So, you normally say stick with one rolling road place and just stick with that. But if you go with somewhere that's got a Maha, then you'll be using the same rolling road anywhere, which is really cool. It also does like air calculations as well. If the air is really cold on a certain day, it will make a calculation for that. So then if you're using hotter air, so say you're doing it in the middle of winter and the air temperature is like 2-3 degrees.
So it will adjust.
It'll automatically
the
adjust it
is.
and give you a reading for 23 degrees.
Whoever's made that, have done that as a business, is
totally
clever.
Yeah, I know 100%. Yeah, I mean that's why we use a Maha because it's just so good. It's such a clever system.
Wow.
But that's what we do mainly as a family business. So that's
so your dad's still doing it then?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so we run classic race cars and now the modern Porsches as well. So that's where I was running my Carrera Cup stuff. Was all within the family team.
Ah, right.
Yeah, so that was a big old stepping stone a couple of years ago.
So when is it? So you went through the classic. Let me see if I can find this MG then. So can you tell me what it looks like because I probably didn't spot it.
It's probably one of the later photos, I believe. Because I remember I stumbled across it in a folder.
Right, I'll
it's not there. It might not have gone through properly.
Oh, okay. Let me see. No, it probably hasn't.
It's not come through. That's fine.
Okay.
But anyway, it's very, very similar to that. However, it's red and got a slightly longer body, but practically the same thing.
Right, okay.
The one that I was racing is a Sebring Sprite underneath, and that's an MG Midget, but the difference between the two is really negligible anyway.
Right, so you did a couple of years racing in classic stuff?
Yeah, so basically started racing when I was 16, just before I could drive on the road, which was fun. As a youngster, that's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get let loose in a racing car. And I did basically just over a full year. I mean, it's like with classic racing, there's no championships and there's no specific series.
Yeah,
you just do one-off races.
Whatever you can do, yeah.
Totally. So I did one race at Snetterton and I did 3 races at Brands Hatch, something like that.
Right.
And that was the first year. Then after that, raced Marcus 1800 GT.
Okay, yeah.
Really, really cool car. Raced that for a bit and then I started racing with our customers. And then we took the massive leap in 2021 to go and race Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain.
You went straight into Carrera
It's a really good idea, isn't it?
Let's go from like a Mustang into a,
yeah, literally.
Amazing.
So racing like a few higher horsepower stuff, but I'd never driven anything with more than about 200 horsepower as an actual racing car.
Right.
So when I first went to drive the Porsche in 21, I couldn't even get the thing out the pit lane.
Really,
it was really funny. It was one of those typical March days at Snetterton where it's just so ridiculously cold. Dry, but ridiculously cold.
Standard day at Snetterton, yeah. It's either roasting hot or freezing cold, isn't it? Yeah.
100%.
So it's never anything
in between. It's never just nice. But as soon as I turned the pit limiter off, it just immediately spun up one way. Then I came off the throttle again and then went back for it again and it spun up the other way. And I was like, oh my word, I can't do this. And it's like as you go through the day, you start getting more and more comfortable with it, and it was enjoying it by the end of the day. But it was certainly a bit of a culture shock to start with.
Yeah, I bet. And what did you? So up to the age of 16, right? So this was actually the thing that I'm really interested in. It's like, I remember you saying something about you used to do dancing. When was this, and what sort of age were you when you did this, or do you still do it?
This one was that competition that we're looking at there. I just grabbed it off an old Instagram account.
Yeah.
But that is what's called the Bournemouth Summer Festival, and it goes on at Bournemouth every year. It's a UK closed competition.
Yeah.
But I must have been. You know what? I'm about 18, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, 18, 19.
So you were still doing that while you were doing your racing?
But I did very little racing. I was instructing.
I
started instructing in, 2017, I believe.
Brands.
At Brands Hatch. So that would have been the same year, actually, that I started instructing.
Right.
So I was instructing and using the money from instructing to pay for my dancing.
For your dancing?
It's very expensive. Not as much as motorsport, but it is very expensive.
So when did that come about? Did you do that from a young age?
From a young age,
Right.
yeah. So when we moved house, we initially lived in Kent, and I was born in Pembury.
Okay.
We lived in Spelter, so I am a Kent boy.
Pembury, not as in Wales, Pembury?
No, there's a Pembury just outside Royal Tunbridge Wells.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm a Kent boy through and through.
Right.
So on the side of my race helmet, I have the Invicta for Kent, and it's like the little symbol.
When you say Royal Tunbridge Wells, that sounds very posh to me.
Yeah,
it's
well,
not
just
Corley
Tunbridge Wells.
Kent, is it, mate?
It's not Corley Kent, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose it's the kind of the slightly posher side. You got Tunbridge and you got Tunbridge Wells,
right?
And they kind of a bit of a trade off with the two. But we were outside, we were Spelthurst, but we had a workshop in Tunbridge.
Right.
So that's where it kind of all started, really. And my dad was from South London, so then moved into Kent and that kind of thing.
Right. Okay. And then you did the dancing. From what sort of age then?
Right. Yeah. So dancing story. So I must have started doing jazz dancing when I was about 6 years old, something like that.
Right.
And I have a twin brother as well, which actually I should have put a photo of my twin brother
No way.
there. Actually, yeah.
Cool, man.
So we are identical twins, look exactly the same. Always we were growing up. Now we're a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because he still does the dancing, so we were doing it at the same time. Basically.
So jazz dancing, what's?
So it's almost like a modern contemporary kind of thing that you do in shows, or if you look at like music concerts, the background dancers, that kind of thing. So kind of like jazz dancing, kind of contemporary. And we started doing that. My brother and I were kind of the oldest in the class, so we were kind of wanting to pick things up quite quickly and do all these kind of things with dancing, and it kind of wasn't really going anywhere. But my mum used to do competitive ballroom and Latin American dancing.
Is that where it came from? Do you think it was
came
your
from.
mum's influence?
Yeah, totally.
Right.
She said, I used to do this. Why don't you give it a go?
Yeah.
Went to a class. My brother and I absolutely loved it. It turned into a one-time thing, which turned into an every week thing, which turned into a multiple times a week thing, which turned into Team GB and international competition and all these kind of things.
No way.
So the highest I got to was, they are like different standards. You got professional, and then you got amateur, and there's no real difference between the two.
Right.
It's a bit strange. It's a bit like racing, where you've got your bronze, silver, gold.
Yeah.
But you've got the professional category, and then you've got the amateur category, and so there's not really a difference in the standard. It's just like a kind of exam, and how much teaching you do, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just under that, there's one called pre-championship level, which is almost like your pro-am competitions kind of thing, like in racing terms. So it's like just under like the pro level. And I was doing kind of like European competitions with that, and I got second in the European Championships.
No way.
In pre-championship level.
Where were they held then? Were they in
so that was
Belgium
at Blackpool.
Like that?
Yeah, that one's actually at Blackpool.
No way.
At the Winter Gardens.
I'm in Blackpool tomorrow. Actually.
Oh, you amazing.
The Winter Gardens.
Oh yeah,
right.
So that was at the Winter Gardens.
Is that quite a well-known venue? I don't know.
For ballroom dancing. It's massive. All the biggest UK competitions are held there.
Right.
Basically, you've got there's loads. There's so many competitions you can just literally buy a ticket and go to.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's so much better than Strictly, because the dancing's it's what these people train for.
Right.
I was training to do this even at the age there in 2017. I was training 5 days a week. Something like that on dancing. Yeah.
I bet that'll keep you fit then.
100%. Yeah, totally. And it's all it's obviously all heavy cardio, but it's all interval training as well, because on Strictly Come Dancing, they do one dance, which is a show routine anyway. It's not like proper. It's not like a proper cha-cha, or it's not a proper paso doble, or it's not a proper waltz. It's kind of slightly showified. They have basic technique in there, and they have the basic steps and what you kind of should be doing. But it's it's TVified, which is exactly it. No one would want to sit and watch a whole TV pro. No one's going to want to sit and watch a whole TV program of the way that it is done in normal competition. It's like the difference between someone watching Formula One casually and then watching a random kind of 6 hours of Burkitt or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of
would
thing.
be shite boring.
Yeah, totally. But
it's good to be involved. But
perfect, nice showified, really, really good. So I can't remember where I was going with that now.
I can't remember. Well, I was just kind of generally asking you about your dancing. It was just when it came up, and I was like, I remember you telling me about this, and it's fascinating. So that I'm guessing that would have given you the discipline to, carry on something like through the week. It's like you're not going to have much of a social life if you're dancing.
No, this is it. But also, I was homeschooled.
Were you?
Yeah,
Right.
so that's another story. Right. So,
No way. Yeah.
education system.
Yeah.
So, I was born in 1998,
fucking love this.
as
Get
my
off
twin
it.
brother, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because you definitely wouldn't get away with this now. But
Right.
what happened so my dad had a shop in Blackfen, selling old MG car parts.
Yeah.
As well as a workshop in Tunbridge. And my mum was kind of looking at, there's three of us as well. So there's James and I are twins. And then we've got my little brother, 2 years younger, but Ali. And he's actually subsequently my number one mechanic on the Porsches and is like properly ingrained, very, very good mechanic now.
Right.
Yes, so she had to deal with us three boys, which could be a bit of a task in itself.
Yeah.
But James and I were meant to be going to a school, all sorted, local school in Speldhurst, no problem, all sorted. It was about the week before the first day of term, and they ring up and say, we haven't got enough desks. And my dad, being a London boy, goes, that's all right, I'll go buy another desk. And apparently it wasn't that simple.
Right.
So anyway, they say that the next school is, 20, 30 miles away. It's actually quite a distance. And my mum was like, well, that's not going to work because there's one of me. We're not going to get rid of the shop because the shop was doing very well at the time.
Right.
In Blackfen, and then the workshop was doing all right. We were very much in the midst. This is going to be early 2000s ish.
Yeah.
And by that point, we were doing the Halfords Engine Minute Challenge. Like all the cars on the grid had my dad's engine in their cars. And it was
right.
Really, so it was both businesses were doing really, really well.
Yeah.
So that wasn't an option. So they said, okay, why don't you start homeschooling and see how it goes? And basically, my mum started homeschooling, and after that, the education system just never checked up on us.
Amazing.
She just fell through the whole system.
Just said, this is what we're doing.
Totally.
Yeah.
But even what was really strange, it was like, what made me realise was when I went to get my UTR number to become a taxpayer and start working at Brands Hatch and
you
all
were
that
off
kind
the
of thing,
grid.
I was off the grid.
Like John Connor. Amazing.
Like John Connor.
Fully
off the grid.
Go back there. You need to stay, especially what's going on with the shit in the country at the moment.
Very
just
true.
stay off the grid.
Stay off
There's
the
a lot
grid.
of people are going to do homeschooling now, though.
100%.
It's just like seeing well, I won't go into the politics too much. It's like, fucking hell, that's.
But what's crazy is that, motorsport has to work, or teaching something of any kind has to work, because I've got no GCSEs, no A levels, none of those. I did take...
So on paper, you're as thick as shit then, really.
On paper, I am literally, get me behind a laptop and some data, but other than that, I'm done, But what's really interesting with that is then to prove I could learn something, because it's obviously a bit of a thing having on your CV that, you know, I've got nothing of a school, because I didn't go to school.
Wow.
So instead, I learned to play music. So I played classical guitar.
Right.
And did my grade 8, all that kind of thing. And that's when my first job started, because I was guitar teaching.
No way.
Yeah.
That's such a random background.
So I've had such a kind of entrepreneurial life to this point where I go for something, fixate on it, and then maybe the next thing happens. But I mean, I know motorsport is the one that's going to stick, because it's just, you know what it's like. There's no feeling like it. And there's so many opportunities for business within the sport.
I should have brought get you to bring a guitar down. That would have been mega. Get the amp in.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, no, so that was a really, really good time. Not played for a while, because just like life takes over.
Yeah. What sort of stuff? So you made classical stuff. So
classical stuff. So kind of like 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, old music.
No way.
Then did that for a while, started teaching that, and then branched off a little bit, as all musicians do, I suppose.
Yeah.
And found a real love for the mandolin, which so the mandolin is like a dual. It's technically 4 strings, but there's 2 of each string.
Okay.
So it's technically 8 strung, but there's only 4 different notes you can play without your left hand.
Right.
And it goes through as doubles, and it's all doubled up. It's a style called bluegrass, which is real like country and western style. Basically, it's a violin with strings, and that's noted.
Right.
Basically.
Mandolin win. Rod Stewart. Yeah, love a bit of that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So I've had a bit of an interesting, different upbringing, basically.
Yeah. Quite bohemian in some ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if you know playing 15th century or 16th century guitar and mandolin, and now you're racing British touring cars.
It's strange when you say it like that, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
So well, okay, yeah. Well, I didn't expect. I remember sort of brief conversations about that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't taking much notice.
I mean, the
of that,
dancing was a great time because I got properly into the dancing really from the age of 12 to the age of like 17, 18. And that's a great time because, you know, you're at 16 years old, you're dancing with these beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, for the girls, it was unreal.
Yeah, I bet.
It really was.
Yeah. So I'm getting a bit excited. Got any pictures? No.
That's it. Yeah. But no, great. It was really, really good times. And I really do miss the actual dancing itself. In fact, actually, on the British Touring Car Instagram page, my social medias, someone asked, they put like a poll out today of what do you want to see, and one of the things was Charles Rainford doing some dancing. I don't know who put it. So then I was doing a bit of cha-cha in the paddock with my race suit on.
Amazing. Oh, I'm looking forward to. I'm actually going to watch touring cars now just for that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Pre-race ritual. Yeah, bit of samba. Why not?
Do that on the podium. Have you ever done anything like that? You have podium
No,
celebration?
not at all.
That needs to be a trademark now, man. You need to do a little bit of a move.
Yeah.
If you win a race, we'll get on the podium.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah.
That's marketable. That is. I like your thinking there, Dunny.
Love it. That's hilarious. So you go into the Porsches with family-run team.
Yes.
And so I don't really know the structure of the Porsche. So it's like, was it AM? Is that how you started? Is there a different?
Yeah.
I don't really know how that works.
Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain, there's 3 different classes. There's Pro, there's Pro-Am, and then there's AM.
Okay.
So you've got like three different ones. First year we decided to go into the Pro-Am class because I was instructing, I was in cars every day. It didn't really feel right to go into the AM class. Yeah, because it was like, I'm not going to win the championship my first year, but it's also I can't go into AM because it just doesn't feel correct.
Yeah.
So we managed to scramble the money to get the car. Basically, how this all came around as well is I was working at Brands Hatch doing hot rides. A chap called Barry Osborne.
Yeah,
don't
know.
No, one of the Brands Hatch instructors. Kind of saw me doing some hot rides and stuff, and I was driving the car fairly well. And he said, you know, what do you want to racing? I was like, I'm just doing some historics and stuff like that. He's like, no, you're completely wasted there. You need to get in a modern race car. So I went back and told my dad, and my dad went, okay, well, how are we going to afford that then?
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't remember when my dad was there as well, but he came to just one of the days I was working to come and see me, basically. And I then introduced, because Barry was a good friend of mine. He's he's a lovely guy. And then Barry was then talking to my dad and saying, no, this really needs to happen.
Yeah.
There was basically, he went to the Brands Hatch round. We managed to get finance in principle for a certain amount of money, which could buy the 2 cars. We could either have a Jetta G55, which was at the time, that was on the Toka paddock. That was like the Super Cup 1 make series kind of thing with Ginetta.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Or you could do Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain.
Right.
There was basically 2 cars lined up that we were kind of looking at on the last event of 2020.
Right.
And the cars came through, we looked at the Ginettas, and because as a family business with the classics, we run quite a lot of Marcuses in the past, which are fiberglass, plywood chassis. And we looked at the Ginettas coming through and thought, actually, they're pretty similar. It wouldn't be too hard to get this thing to work. And then the Porsches drove through, and it was like, oh my word. And then when you look back on the outside, the hospitality with Porsche, the way that it's all ran and worked was just so good.
Yeah, very good on the hospitality.
Totally.
I've heard that before, yeah.
So we went for that, and I'm really glad we did, because it's just been the most amazing journey since 2021 to last season.
So you did, a couple of races back end of 2020, did you? Or how did it
work?
So
we
it was a
literally
full
just turned up to have a look at the cars on the final round at Brands Hatch.
In 2020,
2020. Then we bought the car, I think it was January or February. Of 2021.
Yeah.
And that's when I drove for the first time.
Right.
And did that full season. To start with, honestly, we did not have a clue what we were doing.
Have we got any pictures of the...
We have a picture of this car.
So
if you go roll across...
I'll fast forward past some of them.
Yeah, they're not
and then
ordered.
We'll come back to them. So which ones have we got?
Keep going.
Right.
Keep going. That car.
Right.
That's the one. And
King
you go
Dick.
2 more. You've got... so 1 more. And that's the 2021 kind of look.
99, man. It's a good number.
99, that's my number. Yeah, I want to flake that as well, thank you.
My number in a radical, actually. Yeah,
oh, was it? Oh, there we go. Very good.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
It's a strong
good
number.
choice, mate. Yeah, 66 upside down, but
that's it. At least it's 2 numbers. Depending which way around the car is. But yeah, so that was the first Challenger, and that was a really, really cool season because we started off really not having a clue what we were doing. The first race, I think I finished almost last. Like the way they work in Carrera Cup Great Britain is you do 2 tyre runs in qualifying. And we didn't know this. We thought the strategy was, for some reason, was to drive around really slowly on the first set.
Right.
I mean, looking back at now, taking the peak out of the tyre, then bleed the pressure and then try and go for a lap.
Yeah, okay, but you don't, do you?
No, you don't. You literally just do 2 tyre runs, get the tyre hot, go for it, and you've got like, I don't know, round Snetterton, you've got like 1 lap at it, basically, per tyre run. Yeah, it's bonkers.
Right.
The peak on the Michelin tyre that they use is ridiculous. It's just so
right, so it comes on very quickly, and then you just go...
falls off.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do for race tyres then? Do you put new boots on for the race as well?
So you basically, for the Carrera Cup, you get 3 different sets of tyres, and you can split that how you want between qualifying and the race.
Right.
What we seem to do, and what seems to work averagely well, is... if you have a bad quali, then obviously you need the extra set for the race. But you always do 2 sets in qualifying, unless it's Thruxton. Then you might do 3 because qualifying
it's quite abrasive.
It's quite abrasive, and qualifying is really important around there.
Right,
surprisingly,
we've got. So you sent me some footage. From,
did.
Thruxton,
yeah,
which
I did.
Was really
actually,
cool. I love that. I love any footage at all from Thruxton. Where was it?
There it is,
isn't it?
So this one is. So this is the newer car. This is the one they're currently using.
Right.
This is the 992. And this is me actually still as a Pro-Am, but in 2022. And this is, well, I hadn't actually I didn't know the circuit before the Friday, so I learnt the circuit on the Friday.
No way.
This is the Saturday.
You didn't go and do like a PT...
No. I mean, I don't really know why I didn't, but I didn't.
Wow. That's brave.
Yeah. So...
fast and bumpy.
Fast and bumpy, yeah. So yeah, this is qualifying. This was Pro-Am pole and 4th overall, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad of a lap, as a Pro-Am especially.
Yeah. She's, fighter through there. Slightly off camber through there.
Yeah. This is the best bit. This is so fast.
Yeah.
It's that limiter.
Nice little brush on the limiter, yeah. Oh, you fighter.
Yeah, there's like no brain cells going on there at all.
Yeah. Has it got a speed? What would
it doesn't, so that'd be 168, 170.
No, really?
Yeah,
quick,
really,
then.
they're quick cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got a reasonable amount of aero.
Reasonable amount of aero. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Small front splitter, small diffuser, a massive rear wing.
Right.
The diffuser's made out of like the front splitter is made out of like almost like a rubberized plastic.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it does very much. We've got any front-facing photos? Actually, we do. If you roll across to the blue car back there.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll do. Yeah, that's perfect. So that black rubberized splitter there, you wouldn't think by looking at it does very much at all.
Right.
But if you lose that around Donington, you go through Redgate, that next right, if you lose that splitter, the next right after turn 1 is no longer flat down Hollywood Hill.
Is it?
Yeah,
really?
you just wash right out.
Just pushes and pushes,
Bonkers,
really, so it makes a big difference.
This was a cool car as well. This was my 2023 livery, and it had like a bulldog on the side because I was sponsored by King Dick Tools.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have been since we started. So the first car was sponsored.
Was that a
by
link
King
through
Dick.
your dad for the workshop? Was
Bit
it?
of a family friend, I suppose. A customer of ours knew a chap called Griff, who was the owner of King Dick Tools, and the deal was with no money, but so we could have a sponsor on the car.
Yeah,
basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how we kind of got the sponsorship with King Dick, and it's grown. They're still with me on the touring car.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. And that relationship's just grown because he sold his business to Toolstream, and they're linked in with B&Q, and it's all So it all went really, really well for Griff in terms of sponsoring us and doing all that kind of thing as well.
Yeah,
which is really good.
Now I saw. So I was watching the last touring car race with my uncle in his motorhome up at Hayford, and of course that was the race that Jake won.
Totally
and,
unreal.
And so what? Because you were fighting for the championship.
I was.
So that was that pro or was that pro?
That was pro. So if you roll across to, you see the blue and green mint green car further along.
Let's have a look. See if we can find it.
Is
that it?
That
there?
one, yeah. So that was last season.
Whereabouts is that?
That's the chicane. That's the last chicane at Thruxton.
Right. Yeah.
You take that much amount of curb.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
So that was the livery for this season. Main sponsor, and they've been a sponsor of mine for a few years now. And then major sponsor of mine, the touring car as well, Cognition Land and Water.
Okay.
Richard Hosking, amazing guy. Like, what he does for me is just bonkers. I wouldn't be racing at this level without him. It's just the support he's given me is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went into this season knowing that really this was going to be my last year at Porsche, and that we were going to have to do something special.
Yeah.
And this was a brand new car for last season as well. So it was a brand new 2024 car.
Right.
It was rapid, like properly quick, straight out the box.
Right.
And yeah, I had a good season. Almost won the championship. Lost it on the final round, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. Everyone has their sob story why they lost the championship, but we just basically got the setup wrong. If I'm honest,
right.
Damp, greasy conditions.
I was going to say it was kind of a wet, dry day, wasn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
It was like a full dry race one. Race one was bonkers. All four. So we went into the final round with the top four in the championship separated by 3 points.
Oh, really?
Bonkers.
So who were you fighting with?
So I was fighting with a chap called Will Martin, who's very, very quick. George Gamble, who's ex-British touring car at the time. And a young lad called Hugo Ellis, who's very, very good karter, kind of European world karting kind of stuff.
Right.
Very good in the Porsche as well, I must say.
Right.
I was fighting with those guys. I was a bit like the underdog coming into it because I had like a steady season. I'd picked up a few podiums, had one race win at Knock Hill, one race win in the wet at Silverstone.
Right.
But other than that, I was just consistently scoring points throughout the season. I had no fastest laps in races. I was just continuously scoring points. So I was almost the underdog coming into it.
Yeah.
Then we did the first race, which I finished second, but ahead of all of my championship contenders.
Right.
And it was like a proper elbows out race
between
us all. Like, and none of our cars came back without any damaged panels on them. Like proper race.
Yeah.
I would like an old fashioned scrappy race, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But in like 250k Porsches.
Like, Round Brands GP.
Round Brands GP.
It's a proper circuit, isn't it?
It's a proper
It's
circuit. I
just
love
the
that
best
place. Yeah, 100%. But anyway, I came out of that first race of the weekend leading the championship, going into with one race to go.
Yeah.
So I was feeling hopeful, but yeah, we just got it wrong. So in the end, George Gamble won, but his car was unreal. Century did a crazy good job setting that thing up for those conditions.
And so you were still running with the family team then?
Still running the family team, So we almost won the Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain as a family-run team. So we had one number one mechanic who came in to help, a chap called Tom Harvey. We had an engineer called Vikram who works at McLaren.
Okay.
He actually, is it W1? That's just been released.
Oh, yeah, the road car,
he
the
did
hyper
all the kind of
car.
like performance-based benchmarks and stuff for that.
Okay.
Really, really interesting guy.
Yeah.
Then my little brother, number two mechanic on my car. And then my dad, basically. And that made up the team on my side of the garage.
Right, so did you have two cars? Were you running two
so
cars?
we were running another car, actually for Richard, who owns Cognition. Richard Hosking. He was racing the other car.
And so he was in what, AM or something
He was
like
in
that?
AM, yeah. He actually got second in the championship in AM.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
he raced in Formula Renault in the late 80s.
Right.
So basically, ran out of money, went to go start his business, has done very, very well with his business, and then came back to racing.
Right,
basically.
right. There's a lot of people that did like Formula Renault back in the day. So do you know, have you ever heard of a guy called James Matthews?
Oh, I know the name.
So
that name
James
rings a bell.
Matthews married Pippa Middleton, as in...
I know Pippa Middleton, yeah.
What's her name? Future Queen.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
So, why can't I think of her name? Anyway, William's wife.
Yes,
so he was Formula Renault champion back in those sort of times, when they were 1700.
Yeah, 100%.
CCs,
That's it. Yeah, it'd be that kind of time period still when Richard was in it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Amazing.
So there was that.
There was a photo back here I saw of Yes, was that at the end of that? Is this the end of last year?
No, so that is actually the first year. So
Right.
this is another whole story.
I'm
in
particularly
itself.
liking the Jack Grealish hairband. I was really hoping you were going to come out.
No.
Because Chloe said, "Who's coming round today? Is he famous?" I said, "Yeah, well, he's doing touring cars." I said, "He's got hairband." He's going, "Jack Grealish, how young is he?"
No, so that was like a first year kind of talking point. So you would go, like starting to do Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain, and it's like Charles Rainford, who's that? Oh, the kid that wears the hairband.
The kid that wears the hairband.
Literally, that was my.
That's amazing.
That was my.
And I can't criticise,
approach.
just say anything about hair whatsoever.
To be fair, actually looking back at it, it's not a bad look. I probably wouldn't go for it now, but
Yes,
it is
looking
not a
good,
bad
man.
look.
You're rocking
This
it.
also, so that photo also ties in with one a little bit further along, which we'll get to in a second.
Okay, yeah, we're
But
jumping
if you
about
roll
all
across
over.
from here, if you go to the next slide,
Left or
to the right.
Right, okay.
Do you recognise that circuit at all? One of my greatest experiences in motorsport so
That
far.
looks. Is it Le Mans?
That's a Le Mans 24-hour circuit.
No way.
Yeah, so
it was a full circuit, was it?
full circuit. So in my
Right.
first season, we supported with Porsche Sprint Challenge France.
Right.
We supported the Le Mans 24-hour,
Right.
which was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Unreal. I mean, it was. I did loads of practice on the sim and stuff before.
Did you?
We was talking to Simon
I forgot
Mason.
you did sim
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Simon's a good friend of mine as well. I met him last year, and we just gelled instantly over simulators.
Yeah,
because that
yeah.
is just I love it. And did loads of practice on iRacing, which was the same software that you tried down on his sim.
Yeah.
And the circuit was so close to real life.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I went out for the first part. And I said to the boys beforehand. I said, okay, I'm just going to take it real easy just to start with, because we were at Knock Hill the week before going to Le Mans, and I broke a drive shaft in race 2. So then we had to load the car up, drive straight from Knock Hill back to the workshop in East Sussex.
Right.
Then unpack the vans, repack the vans, then go straight to Le Mans.
Wow.
Fix the drive shaft at Le Mans. So I had to bed in the drive shaft, bed in new brakes, and kind of learn the circuit. Went out for the first free practice. I said to the boys, like, I'll be really smooth, really gentle. Right at the end, I'll have a little go once I've kind of really understand. There's no point going straight out and trying to push like crazy immediately, because I don't really know exactly if it's all going to be the same. So I always, from my side, when I'm learning a new circuit or I start a new day in a car, I like to just take it real easy for just 2-3 laps at the start of the day and just go, right, there's that bit of grass, that curve looks like that, or the car does make some little movement like that. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I did that for the first. It was a 45-minute session. It's a long old lap round Le Mans.
Is it? How many miles is it? Is it all kilometres?
That's a really good point. You know what? I can't.
Well, how long is it in time?
in time in the Porsche it was 4 minutes.
Mm.
Yeah, 4:06 ish.
So what would Brand's GP be then in comparison?
Oh, 125.
Right, so it's like 2.5 times the size of Brand's. Yeah, that's a long old circuit.
It's a long old circuit.
Yeah.
So took it really easy at the start, just warming the tyre, just having a little look. And at the end, on my last push lap, it was like a 60 car grid, I believe. There's lots of different Porsches. So there was the new 992 Cup, there was GT3R, there was us, which was 991 Gen 2 Cup. There was 997 GT3, 997 Cup, and it just kind of continued from there. All the way down to 996 Cup car.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
they were running them in
yeah,
the race
all running
well,
those as well.
Right.
So it was kind of all four different types of 911 race car.
Yeah.
And there was like three screens for the timing on the timing wall.
Right.
And I was kind of near the bottom for the first half an hour of the session, whatever.
Yeah.
Did my last little push lap, and then they were looking for me after that. They were like, "Oh, he's come around a bit quicker." I was like, "Not on the bottom screen, not on the middle screen," and there's where he's second overall.
No way.
Beating like a whole bunch of GT3R, like GT3 Porsches and the new 992, and was top in class.
No
I
way.
Stayed that for the rest of the
You
weekend.
were tuned into the you just
tuned
knew
into
the from the sim.
100%, yeah.
It's
So I was
incredible,
like
isn't it?
the dominant car in class all week, and then won the race. It was just an unreal experience.
It's incredible what sims can do. I mean, it's just when I tested the one of Simon's, he was like, "You'll be surprised how much it's come along." And I was just like, the biggest surprise was just how easy it was to pick it up.
Yeah, totally.
I was like, actually, this feels like
I'm
I'm
driving
expecting
around
it to
now.
feel.
Yeah, totally.
You just get a little bit of lack of G-force, but if you tune your ears into hearing the tyres and everything, it's like Because you do quite a bit of sim coaching, don't you?
I do, yeah. So I do all remote sim coaching now, and sim coaching at people's houses if they want specific coaching on their own rig.
Right.
But I also have my own home simulator, which is great. I'm on it pretty much every day whenever I'm at home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I use it for all my prep stuff as well. So I've got a really good model of the latest British touring car, which I'm working with. Oh, do you know John Pratt?
Yeah, I know Pratty. Yeah,
I'm working with John to make the car as close to real life as possible.
Right.
So I can just do hundreds of millions of laps before we go to a race weekend.
Right.
And it has really worked so far because so far throughout the testing, I've just turned up and been bang on the pace instantly.
Right.
So it's a very valuable tool.
Yeah.
I think it's getting to the point now, if you don't use a simulator, you're definitely missing out on something.
Yeah, you're not going to be on the pace. So are you working with John sort of on the coaching side of things?
Yeah, 100%.
As well?
Yeah, so
he's brilliant.
I'm going to John
Absolutely
for all my coaching. Whenever I go there, it's amazing because we do like 2 laps and then spend the rest of the session talking about it.
Getting your head right. Yeah. So when I started work at Silverstone in '97, John was one of the senior instructors there.
Oh, I see.
And he right. So I'll tell you a little story.
Yeah.
He'll remember this. Well, he may or may not remember this. So we used to have Peugeot 306 GTIs back then, right?
Right, okay.
And I didn't got a clue what I was doing with front-wheel drive, even though I was driving a front-wheel drive. And so I'd seen people like Rob Bath, giving it the massive launch into Club Corner, because you used to go fast Vale into fast Club, and you'd get them really sideways. And I was just, you stand there watching from the Stowe apron and see massive launch into Club. I was like, that looks cool. I think I'm going to learn how to do that.
I could
kept
do that.
Firing it off, right? So it's like 7 sessions. And like in the 7 experience sessions that I had, I spun the first 3 sessions. So that Pratty's like, what's going on? Because he keeps hearing these radio messages like, right, Dunny, I'm going to sit down and sit next to you, see what's going on. So John Sitzman is on the Southern Circuit, and I'd just come out karting, and I was doing Vauxhall Junior, albeit second year into it. And he said, you seem to be turning in quite late, Dunny. I was like, well, I've never considered. He said, have you ever considered where you're looking? Because he talks a lot about vision, right? Does he ever consider where you're looking? Well, not really. I'm just looking where I'm going. No, have you ever looked into a corner? Not really. And so then he sat with me, right? Look in, look out, in, out, exit each time. And he just drummed it into me. And literally, so I was doing Formula Renault that year. By the time I'd finished second, I reckon he found me about half a second.
Yeah.
And I went literally from finishing like 3rd or 4th to bang on straight on the money straight away. So yeah,
it's exactly what I found. Like I started going to John halfway through last season, and after so I went to him before going to Knock Hill, and straight away I was kind of always like P4, P5, maybe make a place up or 2 in the race, get like a P3, P2. Straight away went to Knock Hill, missed out on pole by only half a tenth. Won the first race, rapid in the second race. It was such a game changer.
Yeah.
So I've just been going to iZone ever since because I love it. And also, what's really good is for what they do there with the kind of pressure side of it, where they have they call it a pressure day. And they get all kinds of drivers in, and they go, right, car track, go. And that's it. And then at the end of the day, you get 1 flying lap, and that's it. Mega. And we will get super competitive because we will race against each other or have raced against each other in other formulas. And then we're all in the same place on the same car and track combo. And you get 1 lap.
Yeah. But doesn't that
So
sharpen
good.
you up?
Oh,
That's
massively.
because it's all psychological. So, and if you can withstand that pressure. So is Neil Ridderford still there? Sorry. Neil Ridderford.
No, Neil's gone now. He's done his own thing.
Okay.
What went on there.
Well, he used to coach. So I used to race with a guy called Stu Ratcliffe, and little things that they'd do is like you'd flash it so you'd get just a glimpse of your rear view mirror. So every now and then it'd be like the monkey on your back, with it, it's like just looking at the car behind. Yeah. So it's like kind of going into like mirror strategy and just really clever process things.
Definitely.
And he's learnt it for years of coaching Andy Prio. He worked together with Andy Prio. He was a bloody good racer himself back in the day. Super fast.
I've seen old newspaper clippings and stuff of write-ups of his racing and stuff. Yeah. It was properly good.
Described by Adrian Reynard. Sorry, JP, if it's described by Adrian Reynard, who was a racing car manufacturer, as consistently the most inconsistent driver he'd worked with. But super fast. So win at a canter on his day, from what I heard.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. But no, good
cool.
guy,
Yeah, so I got up there quite a lot for some coaching, and they say for the mental side, it's just so important because you can be as quick as anything in the car, and then if your head's not in it, on when time you actually get put under pressure, then you're never going to do it.
Yeah. I remember going over to Guernsey when he was coaching Andy Prio in the early days, and we went and did this silver method seminar,
That's
which
it.
is the
mind he's getting me on the silver method. It's very good, very interesting.
Yeah. So that was very good. No, very good. That's cool, man. So I saw one that was something about a podium. Was that?
So that one was that was basically a photo of the team at Le Mans.
Right. Okay. Did you do well in that race?
I won that race.
Right.
Yeah,
did you?
I did. Yeah, it was crazy. So if you go across, keep going. After one of me with the single trophy in the air. One more. That one.
Yeah.
So it's me getting my trophy for winning at Le Mans by Derek Bell.
Nice.
And what's lovely, Derek, it's the first time I met Derek, and ever since that moment, he's remembered me.
Oh, really?
Name, everything. I mean, that is just so
Did you not have to put a mask on then to meet him?
I did, yeah, that's it. Yeah, 100%. I then met him at Goodwood later on.
Right.
And he went, Charles Rainford, I recognise that name.
No way.
And then, we got chatting.
What
and
a proper bloke.
What a proper bloke. Honestly, one of the nicest, successful racing drivers that I've ever met.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to meet a few, but he's, just incredible.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah. No, I only met him briefly once at Jimmy Brown Centre at Silverstone. But the thing that was very clear about meeting him that time, a lot of people, when they're in a group, they'll just chat amongst their mates. So I kind of was there, and he kind of made a purpose to stop the conversation and introduce himself. And I thought, what a lovely thing to do. Really, really
totally
gentlemanly. Yeah.
He's a really, really nice guy.
Cool, man.
And he has some fantastic stories as well.
Yeah, I bet.
He's just...
In car 956.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he'd be the one to get on the podcast, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'd love to.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That'd be very, very cool.
Yeah. You're the first person I think I've got that's like under the age of 40. It's amazing. So random. So you've gone... So nearly won the Carrera Cup Championship, and then how did the touring car thing come about?
Yeah, so the touring car, there she is. That's what I was in today. So sponsored by Eurocar Parts and LKQ.
Nice,
which is
I can
really
tell
cool.
you're a professional race driver because you're getting all your sponsors.
I know, that's it.
Anyone, most people are burping and farting and just talking about shagging birds and stuff. It's like I'm loving you getting your sponsors in. So it's
get my sponsors in, yeah. It's a big old team name, that one actually, because the LKQ Eurocar Parts comes before WSR, so that's all like a long old name. But
right, yeah.
Anyway, so they're the title sponsor for the car this year, and. I mean, it's always dream of mine to race in the British Touring Car Championship. I think if you ever have the opportunity to, you kind of have to, really, and especially do it with a team such as Surrey Racing.
Yeah.
Dick's an amazing guy. He's been so helpful getting me up to speed and everything.
Yeah.
Which has been, invaluable, really, especially from the experience he's got.
Yeah, legendary guy.
Totally.
Ran like F3 teams back in the day. I don't know him at all, but I know of him, and I know the Marlborough teams that he used to run back in the day. The F3 stuff, and
I mean, just what he says about Ayrton Senna, because he ran Ayrton in F3. It's just the stories he's got are just unbelievable.
Yeah,
they really are. Of just like how much raw speed he had was just bonkers.
Yeah,
like you just put him in a car, set up not quite right, and he'll still go out on pole.
Yeah,
it just drives it within an inch of its life.
Yeah,
it's just bonkers.
Yeah.
But no, how it all came around really was after doing well in Carrera Cup Great Britain, we just kind of got talking to the team really, and then got offered a full-time seat in mid-Feb, I believe.
Right. Okay.
Basically, and it all kind of went from there.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be without Cognition or without OKQ, because there's a massive help.
Yeah.
Touring car drivers these days are very expensive.
Yeah. Looking upwards of like £500,000.
Yeah,
what I heard.
Yeah.
So it's
not much
budgets.
over that, but it's
Yeah.
So it's an expensive game, but the real plan in general is, try and make a career out of racing.
Yeah.
And have a coaching career on the side of that. So
yeah.
If you've got your name in British touring cars, or hopefully we'll see what happens this year, but do well in British touring cars, it's not going to harm my coaching stuff, and it's not going to harm my racing going forward. So just got to do it. But what's very interesting is the car is obviously very fun to drive.
Yeah.
But as we were saying earlier, like it just eats curb. Like the curb usage you can see on the TV is massive, but you just don't even feel the curbs there. It's really, really strange. If you imagine driving around a circuit or over a curb in an articulated lorry with a one of those air seats, it's like that.
Is it really?
Yeah, like
because the dampers really good as well.
The dampers are amazing,
right?
And they're mounted horizontally inside the chassis. Yeah, right. So they're all mounted sideways.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Right. Which means you can just run so much of it, and the car just sits and goes.
Right,
it's bonkers.
So how does that compare to the Carrera Cup car then?
Other than the fact it's rear-wheel drive, not really.
Right. Did that pitch when you?
Yeah, the Porsche Cup car, you just got to drive it like you're about to have a crash at every single corner. Really,
in what way? What do you mean by that?
The engine's in the wrong place, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So it just feels back-endy.
It's always back-endy. It's obviously got no ABS traction control. It's the speed of a GT3 car, but without any of the assists.
Right.
So it means
it's very easy to lock up brakes then.
Very, very easy to lock up brakes.
Yeah, and very easy to pick up a inside wheel.
Massively, yeah. Either it's front locking or rear locking, or the tyre as well is like super peaky, which is Michelin. Awesome tyre, but like super peaky and hard to deal with.
So do you have to then manage the tyres through the race?
Yeah, fully. Yeah, fully. I mean, they're massive rear tyres on the cars, on the Porsches, but you've got to fully manage the car through the race, and you judge your own race in the car while you're driving if you're going to be quick at the start or quick at the end or somewhere in the middle or any of these things. And you can really quickly burn off a tyre in a Porsche. It's got 510 horsepower, and the throttle mapping in the car is so ridiculously ramped up that by the time the pedal travel's probably about that, but by the time you get to about there, you're almost on full throttle.
Yeah. Wow. And what's a touring car in comparison like performance-wise?
It's just soft. On average, they're about 5 seconds a lap slower than the Porsches on a race weekend, which is already pretty crazy. But it's like then
does it feel like it's you? So it'll probably feel a little bit less daunting because of that. Does it? It's almost like in terms of performance, making a slight step down, so it doesn't. Totally. So you don't mind taking the speed into the corners.
Like everything's not in slow motion, but you definitely know nothing's happening as quickly. I've got 5 extra seconds to think around the circuit, which isn't a lot of time. But it's like when you jump from like a Radical to an MX-5 or whatever. It's just you just got time.
You've got time.
You can throw it about and you can hustle it. And that was one thing on my first test day that I was doing too much of, because I wasn't really going that quickly in terms of lap time. Right. Because the car's not that quick. I'm just trying to hustle it everywhere, which, because it's a big old soft beast, doesn't like that very much.
Right. So it just eats up performance, does it?
Yeah, you end up just kind of getting these little slides or a bit of too much bump steer, and it just costs you lap time. Right. You have to drive the car really, really smoothly to get the lap time out of it, which is another little challenge.
Is that because it's got slightly less power, so it's all like any movement at all? Just sapping
totally.
that.
And then it's got a lot of bump steer, so as it sits, it kind of turns. Okay. The S's are a really good kind of way to explain it really at Croft. Yeah. If any of our listeners haven't driven it, it's basically you come out of what's called Tower, and it's like a long right-hander. You come down the straight, and then it's like a quick left to a quick right. It's like a nice S-bend. In any other car, you turn left, you go straight, you turn right. In the touring car, you just look in and it goes in. You just turn ever so minusculely at high speed, and the thing just sits and turns. It's the strangest feeling. Right. And when you get a bit of oversteer, it might not necessarily be proper oversteer. It might just be a bit of bump steer through a corner. Right. And at that point, if you try and correct into it, it just sends you across the grass on the outside.
That's interesting.
So you've got to kind of like work out whether it's bump steering or it's actually oversteering. But to me at the moment, they kind of feel the same. Yeah. So you're just slowly dialing into the car. Yeah, totally. Croft is a good place to do that, though, because it's bumpy, right? Totally. It's bumpy down the straight, bumpy down towards Tower. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We're not really going to be going to any other harder circuits than Croft. We've done a test at Brands Hatch, done a test at Snetterton, and now Croft, and we're at Donington in, 2 weeks' time. Is that the first round? No, that's media day, and then we've got round 1 at the end of April, end of this month actually. Yeah. Right. And the cool thing is, you said earlier when we were eating our Chinese earlier, that's loving it. Talking with Jake. So you work with
Jake
Yeah,
at
so
Brands Hatch?
Jake Hill's one of my teammates for the season, but I also used to work with him at Brands Hatch when I first started instructing. So
Cool,
it's really
man.
nice to be working with Jake again. I mean, again, his knowledge. But what's been really nice, he's really helped me get up to speed as well in terms of like car setup, how the feeling of the car, of driving the car should be, and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's meant that actually, I mean, obviously, excuse me, testing's testing, but I've been surprisingly very quick so far, which has been really, really good.
Yeah, that's good. Just to know that, get that knowledge straight away.
Yeah, 100%. It kind of takes one thing out your head then of, am I quick enough? I definitely know I'm quick enough. I've just got to perform on the race weekend.
Yeah.
Basically, it's all the head game, as John Prout would say.
Yeah, totally. And it's a bit like your, I suppose your dancing is you know, because was that a similar sort of thing you'd have to perform on?
Yeah,
on the
totally,
night
100%. Yeah, I mean the way the dancing worked actually is you would go through many different heats. It's almost like an F1 qualifying style. But you go through like loads. So you'll do like your first round, which has got like 250 couples in it. Then they'll half it, and then they'll half it again and again and again to the 6 left.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But that
so
happens
and
over
each
a
time
period
did you
of
have to
days.
dance? On each time,
Yeah, 100%,
So you'd have to perform each
Yeah, you
time.
get
So it's
through
just
the
like
first
qualifying.
round.
You said
Totally.
qualifying, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is heat 1, heat 2,
heat 3. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't perform on one of the dances at that time, or if you don't put the qualifying lap together, then you're out, and that's it.
Yeah.
No second chances. But yeah, so normally my head game is pretty good. What was interesting is we actually tried like a kind of a proper quali run today, where it puts me in a bit of pressure, and if I don't perform the lap time that we were expecting me to, then I won't get another go. That's it. So actually, I was sat in the car already feeling nervous, which is really, really good practice, and fully delivered the lap time. It was mega. So we'll see what happens at the end of this month, but I'm certainly very, very excited to get going with it, because it's at the point now. I've driven the car enough. Like I did just over 300 Ks yesterday, another 300 Ks today.
So how many laps is that then?
That's a really good question. It'd be on TSL, about 50 odd laps.
I don't know why that's just done that.
Oh, we're beeping.
Bear with me.
No, you're right, mate.
Restart it.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, so we're trying to work out. So it's
Be on about
300K,
50 odd laps or so
Yeah.
per session. So 100 laps of Croft, maybe a bit more, 120
Right.
laps, something like that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot.
That's enough, yeah. And it's been
It's
quite
enough.
warm today, isn't it?
It has been quite warm today. Yeah. We were testing yesterday as well. So
You feel fairly rinsed.
yeah, starting to.
Oh, yeah.
I was rinsed last night.
Where's
You know
where's
what?
the
Really
biggest fatigue?
strangely, so my hands, I had like good calluses from the gym, and another one there. That was actually from the gear shift in the car.
Yeah.
And I've done something to my hand.
Is it a stick?
It's a sequential.
Okay,
Yeah, stick sequential. But I think the joints, maybe my hand, aren't so used to it, because something in the middle of my hand here is very sore and
Be
bruised.
tendons, I should think.
Yeah,
and
something
it'll
like
be
that.
just repetitive strain.
Yeah. So a bit of that going on, but other than that, it's easy. It's fun. You get a bit of glute soreness the day after. Didn't get it yesterday so much, but after the Snetterton test last week, I had quite bad, aching in the glutes from like brake pressure and all that.
Yeah. Is it warm in the cockpit as well?
Yeah, very warm. Yeah. There's no air other than there's like a little outside air feed which comes into the cabin by your helmet.
So no aircon or anything like
No,
that?
none of that. No.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
good.
So
Old
it'll be like a
school.
greenhouse then, I should think. Isn't it?
Oh yeah, fully. In the middle of the summer, it's gonna be really hot.
Yeah.
I've never invested in one of the cool suits. I think I may do for this season.
Yeah,
just because
especially when it gets warmer.
Yeah, when it gets warmer. In the Porsche, it was all right, but I feel like this is going to be a bit hotter inside, because you've got all the electronics as well on the floor versus the Porsche they weren't, and all these different things. A lot of heat comes off the gearbox, obviously turbocharged as well, which produce even more heat. To get the heat out the engine, it actually gets pumped into the cabin. So that's not ideal as well. So
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Nice.
Put that all
nice.
together, and it's going to be a toasty combo.
Yeah, it sounds like it, mate. Well, it sounds mega. I tell you, what, there was apart from the old loving the Jack Grealish look.
Yeah.
It's like a Mustang. You had the red Mustang.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So
what's
this is a
that
nice
then?
little project. So whilst also I've been doing the Porsche racing and now British touring cars, I've still been racing plenty of historic race cars.
Right, okay.
And this is our latest project.
Okay.
So this is a Plymouth Barracuda.
Right.
basically. And the idea with it is to go and try and do the Goodwood TT celebration up
Right.
against like the Shelby GT350 Mustang, that kind of thing.
Okay.
That kind of pace is what we're looking for out of this.
Right.
So
There's some decent footage here. It looks. Let's see if I can play it. Hang on.
Yeah.
This. I bet it sounds good as well.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah,
actually
probably,
listened to
yeah.
it. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Can you remember a TV program called The Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh yeah, I used to watch the Dukes of Hazzard religiously. We had all of the DVDs as like a box set. I can't remember where my dad got them from, but I watched the whole lot. Yeah,
It's just like The Dukes of Hazzard. That's
it is,
amazing.
fully. Yeah, it's like the General Lee, but red.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really cool car. It's practically a lorry underneath. It's
Right.
on proper, like, old school kind of suspension, but it's what they ran in periods, so that's what you got to run.
Yeah.
And the engine's a Chrysler, so that is a little bit different. A lot of the stuff that runs at the moment is either a Ford or a Chevy,
Yeah.
which is they've been just more developed. So this is a really undeveloped car, but it's going to be a really, really cool kind of project to try and get going.
Yeah,
So
nice.
the idea is kind of like endurance racing, so bit of Masters, like say Goodwood TT Celebration, Spa 6 Hour, those kind of events.
Yeah,
really is the
proper.
plan with it.
Because Jake does quite a bit of that as well, doesn't he?
Yes, he does indeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's also very quick in a historic car, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised about that anyway. He's a quick guy, isn't he?
Yeah. He might be rubbing wheels and touring cars and
Yeah,
historics
definitely.
as well.
Yeah, 100%. He has a very, very quick Capri, actually, which he campaigns at Goodwood every year.
Oh, okay. There's a Capri in here as well.
There
isn't
is,
there?
yeah,
So
there
what's
she
this?
is. So that is one of our customers' cars. It's a recreation of the Brute 33 Castrol car.
Yeah.
You can still buy Brute 33. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I didn't know this until so basically. Well, obviously, Brute wasn't really a thing when I was growing up. But
yeah, it was a bit old school when I was
bit
growing
old
up.
school,
And I'm
yeah,
an old
exactly.
bastard.
So basically, once our customer bought the car, my dad said, "You know about Brute 33?" I was like, "No, what's Brute 33?" Anyway,
Yeah.
looked it up, found all the old bits of the Brute 33, this, that. Right, fine. Worked out basically that the car in period was meant to be like a hairy-chested man's car.
Splash it on, Henry Cooper.
Exactly.
Splash it
I found
on,
all
yeah.
of that, right? Yeah. So I'm getting in the real spirit of the Brute 33 and the Capri. We're campaigning it, I think it was at Brands Hatch. And one of our mechanics the weekend actually managed to find Brute 33 on Amazon, and he sprayed the whole of the cabin before I went out for qualifying.
No way.
And I
Brilliant.
got in, I said, his name was Oz. I said, Oz, what's his smell? He's like, Brute 33, drive it like a man, slammed the door. I was like, off you go. Yeah, so that's a funny car, but I absolutely love this car. It is such fun to drive.
Yeah, I bet.
There is actually an onboard.
Oh, is there?
Somewhere?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
let's see.
yeah,
If you go
yeah.
to the left-hand side, there's an
Other
onboard.
way. Hang on. No.
Yeah, no, that way. Yeah, going all the way across.
Keep going.
Other way to the
Right,
left.
Right.
Yeah. Keep going. There it is.
There we go. Right.
I don't know if the sound
Yeah.
is synced up on this one. Oh no, it's all right. I mean, firstly, it's the sound. So this car is a Essex V6 with a single carburetor on top. But really, really cool car. Sound thing.
Yeah, proper.
Yeah.
What sort of tyres is it running on then?
So this, I believe, was on like a kind of semi-slick, but normally it'll run on like a Croft historic tyre.
Yeah.
But this was for, I believe this lap was Super Touring Power. It's an event that goes on at Brands Hatch every year.
That looks proper.
Oh yeah, proper.
Hopping like hell as well,
Totally,
isn't it?
yeah. So yeah, with Super Touring Power, it's basically an event where they have all kinds of different classic touring cars.
Right.
Anything from 60s all the way through to Super Tours.
Yeah.
And this was just the qualifying session for that. I believe this was probably the first race weekend we did with the car, so the cabin will be stinking of Brute. Whilst we're sliding through Hawthorns. Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
But it's a really, really cool car. Again, I really enjoyed developing this car. It's been really, really good fun. It's pretty quick now. We kind of got to a point of it's the most we can do without actually having to fully strip the whole thing.
That's proper. I'm loving that big slide. So it just like back end it straight in.
Back end it everywhere. Yeah. Just get on the throttle as early as you can and do all the rest of it as and when.
Sounds so
Yeah.
good. Was it a 3 litre in there?
3 litre F6. Yeah. So it revs to about 7,000.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's like doing passenger eyes every single lap.
Exactly. Yeah, literally.
Back it in. Amazing. Wicked, man.
Yeah, lovely
Mate,
start.
well, I think we'll leave it at that with the sound of that beautiful
It's a
3
good place
litre.
to leave it, isn't it?
Yeah. Mate, well, thanks for coming
No,
round.
thank you for
That's
having me,
been
Danny.
wicked.
It's we must try and do a catch up with the touring
Yeah,
cars later on in the
definitely
year or
do
something.
that. Yeah, that'd be mega. Actually, it's you're the first young driver. It's someone who's actually racing right now. Like halfway through a season of podcasting, got no one who's actually
Well,
still
no, I'm loving the
racing.
podcast. It's looking forward to your next couple of episodes you've got going out as well. I probably
Yeah.
won't listen to this one back because it's a lot of the sound of my own voice, which is not so fun. But all the other ones I've been loving so far. So keep doing what you're doing.
Mega.
Man. It's really, really cool.
Thanks, mate. Well, thanks for listening.
Cheers,
Top
Dan.
man. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Perfect.
We'll ignore that camera. Just keep shitting
fine.
it.
Yeah, keep shitting itself.